What is going on, IB Nation? Welcome to another edition of the Irish Breakdown Podcast. I'm Vince D'Addario. That guy over there is Jesse Stiers. And our little name tags aren't coming up today for some reason. Oh, well, you guys know us. It's not like we're new here. At least not for me.
One of those days, Vince.
You don't see the name things, right? It's not just me?
No, I don't see them either.
Okay. Well, hey, whatever. Sorry, but you guys know who we are. And if you don't, then just ask and we'll tell you again. But you'll notice that Sean Stiers is not in attendance today because he is on the call for the women's basketball game against Georgia Tech, which is currently actually going on right now. So you can throw that on in the background and kind of watch what's going on. But Notre Dame's got a 5-0 lead last time I checked, even though star Hannah Hidalgo is out for the second game in a row. And it's going to be a tough one. Georgia Tech's only lost 2 games this season, and I think they're number 17 overall in the country. So should be a lot of fun. And so we wish Sean Stiers and the Lady Irish all the luck in the world. But we got a show to do, Jesse Stiers, and it is We In, We Out Day. And I heard that you kind of had a very interesting day. So are you ready? Are you ready to bring the heat today? Because we got like 2 pages of questions.
Yeah, so I got two funny stories I'll get into real quick here.
Nice.
I think one shows my loyalty to Irish Nation. I got offered box tickets to the Cavs and Suns game this upcoming Monday, Vince. And obviously that's the day of the national championship. But that game, since it's MLK Day, is going to tip at 3:30.
Oh, nice.
And so I was like, oh, man, that sounds great. But now my friends want to have a watch party back in South Bend. So I have to turn down box tickets, free food, free drinks, great food. So, I mean, that stinks. And then the other funny story I have, I mean, I live in Cleveland. I think a lot of people know that. I'm in the center of, Buckeye Nation. A lot of people I work with went to Ohio State. They're big Ohio State fans. So we've been having fun this week. But anyways, one of my friends that's an Ohio State fan, he wants me to bet him on the game straight up $100. And I was like, dude, there's not enough juice for me in that because I can take that 100, go to FanDuel, and at plus 300, I can win $300. So why would I bet you
this is true. Take the
$100 just to win $100 when I could get it for $300? And he's calling me, oh, you're scared and all these things. Then give me a field goal. If it's, if I'm scared, the guy who's, trying to bet on like a minus 250 money line. Come on, man. So I thought that was pretty funny. That's just such a stupid bet. Why would I bet him and win $100 when I can win $300 on any of the other betting sites? So I just thought that was a pretty funny story.
Well, you're dealing with Ohio State people, so enough said.
There we go.
Yeah, I won't even get into it because I don't want to be that guy, but enough said. So it is We In, We Out Day, everybody, and we got some good ones here. So without further ado, let's just roll up because I tell you what, I feel like the people brought it. The people on the boards, they brought it tonight, and so we're gonna have some fun with this one. So I believe now you're gonna have to correct me if I'm wrong here. You read, and then we answer. Is that how this goes?
Yeah. Let's go for it.
And then I'll read rapid fire and you answer. So that's how we'll do this. All right. Hit it.
We in, we out. We have another pass interference call that's very questionable.
That's fantastic. Yes. I mean,
yeah, you have to be in on that. It seems like it happens just about every game.
Well, and here's the other thing. They're going to be going up against the most, prolific wide receiving core in the country, and everybody knows it. And so do the refs. And so if that's the case, I just don't see any way that Notre Dame doesn't get called for some sort of a ticky-tack something along the way. I just don't see it. You know what I mean? So it's going to happen, and it's probably going to happen more than once. I just hope that it doesn't happen in a very key part of the game that, flips the momentum or, essentially gives a score, that kind of thing. Because look, Notre Dame's going to be sticky on defense. They're going to be, because they're going to play man-to-man because that's what they do. I saw something online today that Leonard Moore gave an interview where he's like, we're going to be in man-to-man. Like, okay, duh. We all know this. That's who Al Golden is. You're not going to change who you are based on who you play, right? And people are going crazy online because, why are we giving away the game plan?
It's the same as the first 15 games.
Seriously. Like, this is who Notre Dame is. And it's okay to let Ohio State know that you're going to be going man-to-man. Look, it's not going to be man-to-man every single time. But come on, man. Come on. It's okay.
So, text message this morning. There is no way Notre Dame plays man. Again, no one is changing their literal identity on defense because you're Ohio State and you got some good wide receivers. Like we talked about on Tuesday during the show, like I think they're going to mix up. I think they're going to show a lot of two high safeties and maybe that, what they do pre-snap compared to what they do post-snap is a completely different story. But I guarantee majority of it will be man. And it's just who Al Golden is. If they want to bring the pressure like they do, you have to be able to play man on the backside.
Yeah, I mean, and they're going to. I mean, we're going to get into it in rapid fire because there's a really good matchup that I think we're going to see more often than not. But they're going to play man. This is who Notre Dame is. I mean, and football people understand that. Fans generally don't. But it is what it is. All right, moving on.
One of the 3 running backs breaks a run open to the house, let's say 20-plus yards.
Ooh. What are your thoughts on this one?
I think you kind of need one if you're Notre Dame. Like, what is Notre Dame's identity on offense? It's running the ball.
Yep.
And if you want and I believe Notre Dame is going to win this game, to be honest with you. And part of that recipe is getting something like this. You need a 20-plus yard house call. So I say it happens just because, again, that's what they're good at. And I'm also still in the boat that I think Notre Dame is going to beat up, Ohio State's front 7 more so than they did Georgia and Penn State. I think they have gone against some of the tougher front 7s compared to what they're about to against Ohio State. And that's not to say Ohio State is bad or not good. I just think Notre Dame has played bigger, tougher front 7s, and I think that it's an advantage to go up against Ohio State.
I like it. I'm not going to give a whole lot more analysis to it, but if Notre Dame's going to be successful, they're going to be running the football. And if they're running the football in a successful manner, then this gets done. So I'm in on it as well. Yep.
Holding Ohio State to under 120 rushing yards.
Ooh. Well, look, you got to win in the trenches. Ohio State has 2 very good running backs. I think as a whole, I like Penn State's running backs better. And therefore, they had a focus of stopping the run. Now, I don't know, like in the past, right, in the regular season, Notre Dame, if they wanted to stop the pass, they stopped the pass and they kind of allowed the run to do some different things. What is the focus going to be in this game? I'm not 100% sure on that. But 120 is a lot of yards, right? So I'm going to go ahead and be in on this. I like the number at 120. I would have been a little bit more nervous at 100, if that makes sense.
I'm going to be out on this one because I think they're gonna stop the passing game, and I think Notre Dame wants Ohio State to run the ball. And I think
that's the thing. Yeah,
and I think even if that means giving up, a couple chunk runs here and there, and maybe they get to 120 by the end of the game, I think Marcus Freeman is more comfortable with that than giving up 300 yards in the air at the end of the day. So it's like, I just think of it as a defense. They really have that bend but don't break mentality. So if I'm Notre Dame, I welcome Ohio State to run the ball. And if they so happen to get into the red zone, then you stop them and hold them to some field goals. So I think it's going to be close to that number, but I think that plays in Notre Dame's favor.
Fair enough. Here we go. BK's personal chef has, no, that's just a comment. Thank you. All right. Ballpeen Shillelagh's got one.
We in or we out? You would run through a wall for Coach Freeman. 100% in.
Duh. In.
That's the easy one.
In.
The starting offensive line for Notre Dame in the championship game will be the most talented offensive line combination we have seen this season in game.
Okay, he said in game, so that changes things a little bit because the offensive line they had lined up that first week of August, I was all in on. You know what I mean? Like I felt really good about it. but it didn't make it to a game. So basically, the only reason I'm hesitant, you're bringing Charles Jagasaw back. I think let's assume, based on some of the things that are out there right now, Jagasaw starting at left tackle. You've got Billy
Ooh.
Strouth at left guard. You've got Pat Coogan at center. You've got Rocco at right guard, and then you've got Emil Wagner at right tackle. So is this the most talented? Walking myself through it, I'm going to say yes. The only hesitation I had was I'd rather have Ashton Craig at center, but, he's injured, so he can't. And there was never a time where Ashton Craig and Charles Jagasaw were on the field at the same time. And, for a game, they were there in August, but they weren't there for an actual game. So I'm in on this.
I'm just going to defer to you because I'm not going to sit up here and act like I know the ins and outs of the Notre Dame offensive line any better. And I think the reason why I would be in on this is solely because of Jagasaw. Yeah. I think having him on the field in combination with Rocco Spendler gives you a lot of athleticism.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I know Rocco's not great in pass pro, but again, the guy will pull his heart out and absolutely lay the wood on whoever needs it, right? Even if he's on one ankle. So,
yeah,
you, I would prefer to have a different center. But I just seeing Jagasaw was supposed to be the next guy at the beginning of the season, right? And so Notre Dame making it this deep and having the opportunity, to have him back, I think is a huge advantage. And it sounds like you're pretty confident that that's who's going to be out there at left tackle.
Based on some things that are out there that, I think, to me, that's the smartest way to go right now. And I feel like based on the depth chart that was put out with the at left tackle, that's kind of telling to me. And they've got.
Do you think that was done strategically, or do you think they really don't know yet?
Oh, strategically, that was.
So Ohio State can't game plan.
Well, it was, to me, it was a nod to Tosh Baker that, like, man, we still love you, but you know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
that's what that was. In my opinion, this is Vince's opinion, right?
Right.
That's how I think it was personally. But hey, we'll all see together on Monday night. But yeah, that's where I'm at.
We in or we out? The Notre Dame special teams will have a monumental role in winning the national championship.
Probably, because it's going to be a tight game, and Mitch Jeter and field position are going to be huge, right? If there's going to be a field goal attempt, you need to make it, number one. And number two, I think field position is going to be massive in this game. And so, you're going to be looking at Thor to flip the field and pin them deep, just like he did to Penn State. He had an outstanding game in the Orange Bowl. Outstanding game. He had a really good game against Georgia as well. So he needs to do that again. If he continues to be as consistent as he is, then the special teams will be huge. Even if Jeter doesn't kick a field goal, which I think he will. I'm not saying it's going to be a last-second one. But even if he doesn't, the field position game and the coverage unit are going to be huge in this game.
Yeah, I would say that they have to, because a lot of stuff you were saying, I think they're going to have to make some crucial field goals again to keep. The thing is you got to keep Ohio State in sparring distance, right? You can't let them get too far away. And I think field goals, if you're not putting up touchdowns, are a good way to do that. And some of the stuff that you said too, it's not all about scoring every drive. It's about collecting as many first downs as possible. And if you don't score, you got to flip the field and pin them deep. And that's going to be a big part of this game, is making Ohio State's offense go the entire length of the field. And to be honest with you, I would bet a good large sum that Marcus Freeman has another trick up his sleeve in terms of special teams. And I think so, even more than this is strictly Jesse's opinion. I think Ryan Day and Ohio State are a bit oblivious or arrogant to a degree, and it's a team that you can sneak some sort of fake play in on special teams. I don't think they're going to be as meticulous as some of these. I thought Penn State and James Franklin was great. The opportunities didn't really present themselves as much to get that kind of fake done on special teams, but I like the chances against a Ryan Day-led Ohio State team. I guess what I'm
Fair.
saying. I think
That's fair.
I think he's just one of those guys who the attention to detail isn't 100% there all the time.
Right. Yep. All right. Final one from Ball Peen Shillelagh, at least in this round.
When are we out? This week is the slowest week possibly of all time.
Go ahead. You can answer this one first.
Yeah, I mean, it's been brutal. At this point, I just want the game, just to happen at this point. But I thought between Indiana and Georgia felt like forever with the game getting pushed back. I thought the Penn State game came really quick. But for me, it's between Georgia and this game. But I don't mind the wait on this one because it's allowing Notre Dame to get healthy. And I think that's honestly what this team needed the most was just some extra days off.
All right. Let's move on down the list.
We out. A decent length field goal by Mitch Jeter at the end of the half gives Notre Dame their final 6-point edge in a 30-24 win.
It's very specific.
I mean, mine's a little bit closer. I think a field goal gets Notre Dame a 24-23 victory, Vince.
Okay. So I mean, you're saying you're predicting, Mitch Jeter being the difference, right?
I am. There's going to be an important field goal in there at some point.
Yeah. I mean, I'm in on the fact that I think a Mitch Jeter field goal is going to come into play. You know what I mean? Like, I think it could be the difference, and I haven't made my official prediction yet, but it's going to be either a field goal or less game, and Mitch Jeter is going to be huge in that. So, not necessarily saying 30-24 specifically, but I'll be in on the fact that Mitch Jeter could be the difference maker in this game.
When are we out? Jeter's 3 field goals fuel Vince all year into his son Dylan's freshman year.
I mean, what Jeter does doesn't really have anything to do with what Dylan does, but, I'm a huge proponent of special teams because of my kid. I'm next to Jeter's dad, who's out there with his phone taking all the videos, which I freaking love because I have to do that for my kid as well. Because he likes to analyze his film at halftime. Like, that's why. So I have to take it and then send it to him. And then he's on his phone at halftime, like, analyzing everything. So, like, I totally dig what dad does on that one. So, but I'm a huge Mitch Jeter fan. I think he could be a difference maker in this game. I think he's an excellent field goal kicker when healthy, just like any kicker is better when they're healthy. But one has nothing to do with the other one. But at the same time, I love the question, and I appreciate him bringing up my kiddo.
Last one. Go Irish. Crush those Ohio horse chestnuts.
Okay.
That's what the Ohio Buckeyes are called elsewhere, including the East, where they were named first. A poisonous to man, not only useful for tanning leather. The wood from the tree is too soft to be useful for much of anything, according to the internet. Kind of like the team that picked them as their symbol.
A little dig there at the end. Older
Love
than
that.
dirt. Appreciate that one. Okay. Stymie has a whole list of them. So let's roll through these a little bit quicker, but we got a lot to get through.
We in, we out. Yes, pregame butterflies are real. However, coming into this game with 2 major bull wins under their belt allows them to settle in much quicker, especially facing a familiar foe. I'm in on this, and I think you can add that playing Ohio State for the 3rd straight season is a factor. Vince, I said this the other day. Whether you see it small or big, it's kind of small to me, but I think them playing already in Mercedes-Benz this season is also a bit of an advantage. You're familiar with the field. The lights aren't going to be too bright. You know exactly what I mean? As a player,
Sure.
It's nice
familiarity.
To be. Yeah, you're more comfortable, and that sort of stuff helps with the butterflies when the stage is somewhere you've already played before.
No, I'm in on the fact that the stage is not going to be too big for them, for either team, frankly. I don't think that that's going to be a thing. That was always something that would worry me about past Notre Dame teams. That's not something that worries me with this Notre Dame team. So I'm in on the first one for sure.
This game will be a dogfight, staying under 46.5 points, and it's decided by a field goal. I think 46.5 is really sharp. I do think it's decided by a field goal, and I do think it's a dogfight.
46. I mean, each team 23 points. Like, I mean, this could be another first team to 20 wins. I'm tempted to take the over. You know, in this particular situation, 46 is that's tough, man. That's kind of low. You know what I mean? Like,
I think 24 might win this game, especially
fair.
defensively. If you're Notre Dame, I think you got to keep Ohio State under 30.
Man, yeah, like that 46.5 is a really good spot, though. You know what I'm saying?
It's sharp.
I'm gonna say over just to be that guy, but I'm in on the rest. I'm in on the rest.
The reason it's so windy in Indiana is because Ohio sucks and Michigan blows.
Wow.
On to the next one. Mike McCarthy is the best candidate for the Chicago Bears head coaching vacancy.
Somebody's been listening to a little bit too much of Colin Cowherd. He went on a rant about that the other day. I'm gonna go hard out on that one.
I think it's out, and I think with what you just drafted, you need an offensive mind. If you just took Caleb Williams and Rome Odunze, grab a couple offensive linemen in this draft, try to get the defense better. But I would prefer, if I'm the Bears, I would prefer someone that's got some good offensive experience.
Fair.
We in, we out. The Chicago Bears will not hire Mike McCarthy as their next head coach because that's the Chicago way.
They will not look, if they hire him, that is the Chicago way. That's the problem. So this is a little bit reversed in my opinion, because I don't think he's the best candidate for the job. And so I am out on this particular one.
Yeah, I don't think they're not going to hire Mike McCarthy, and it's not because it's the Chicago way. Just like I said, I just think there's a better offensive-minded candidate out there for them.
Yep. Well, here's one for you.
We in, we out. The Dallas Cowboys will not be successful again until Jerry relinquishes control and stops meddling. I mean, yeah, that's a big end, and that's always been, I feel like, all paths, all roads lead back to Jerry. You know, no matter what you do, it's all kind of a window dressing because one guy has the ultimate say at the end of the day. So we'll just leave that at that.
I'm not going to touch any more of that one. You're the Cowboys fan, but I tend to agree with you. So here's one from Abel One.
Thank you, Abel One. We in, we out. Lou Holtz's latest trolling of Ryan Day is an attempt to bait him into coaching the style of game Notre Dame wants to play. I mean, yeah, you got to be in on that because what did Michigan do? They baited him into this physical, you need to run the ball type of offense, and that's the recipe that beats Ohio State. So whether he's purposely trying to do it, if he's just being Lou Holtz, I don't know, but I do think it is baiting him in a way to kind of, not call the game how Ohio State really should, and that's an air first team.
Right. Yeah, I love this. I don't know if Lou Holtz is playing chess while Day's playing checkers. I'm not sure. I mean, that's generally the case. I wouldn't put anything past Lou Holtz. I'll just say that. Look,
right.
He's the last guy to win a national title at Notre Dame, so he's still the man, and he can say whatever the heck he wants, in my opinion. All right, another one from Abel One.
We in, we out. Notre Dame will run more designed QB runs on Monday than they have any other game this season. I don't know about any other game this season, but Riley Leonard's legs have to be a factor. It's a national championship. It's the last game of the year. I mean, Riley Leonard has gone on record. He will put his body in harm's way if he has to. This offense is most potent when Riley Leonard can make plays with his legs as well, because it's just another, it's just an assignment football. He's another person that requires a hat on a hat. So I just think Notre Dame's offense is at its best when Riley Leonard is getting 50 to 60 rushing yards. So I have to be in on this.
I will say that they will do whatever they have to do to win. And with this being the last game of the season, he's going to be running the football. So I think, a lot of the times it's not a designed run unless you're on the goal line or short yardage. But I will say that I like this. I think he will be running the ball a little bit more against this defense for sure. So another one from Abel One.
Abel, we in, we out. For reasons of fate and poetic justice alone, Notre Dame will win this rematch against TSOU, the Ohio State University, in another close game decided by an unfathomable coaching blunder, this time by Ohio State. I think there's a lot of poetic justice for Monday's game, and I'll leave some of that to myself. I don't want to, say those out loud because, I just think it kind of shows my biased Homer opinion. But I do believe that there is some poetic justice in this game, and I do think Ryan Day will make a crucial mistake at some point. So I'm in on this one.
Look, here's what I do know. Notre Dame's not going to make the crucial coaching mistake. So if there's going to be one, it'll be Ohio State. I mean, if there's anything we've learned from Marcus Freeman, he learns from his mistakes, and that will never happen again. And I don't see that happening anytime soon. And hopefully third time's a charm for Notre Dame in this one. Okay, Irish Gordian not.
Oh boy, animals fighting in my house. We in, we out. Regardless of the outcome on Monday, this run is the beginning of a decade of dominance for Notre Dame. I have to be out on that first part. I don't think it's I'm going into this game. I'm not happy to be here. I think Notre Dame has a great opportunity, a great chance to win this game. And I think if they play how they've been playing, the last however many games since the Northern Illinois game, I think they're going to win. And so I'm not going to be personally happy if they lose on Monday. I'm going to be upset for at least a week. So I'm out on that first part. But I do think we are starting the beginning of a run of Notre Dame kind of being back, essentially.
All right. I guess, a decade of dominance, a decade of being in the national title hunt, as long as Marcus Freeman sticks around, I'll buy that. I just don't know what the definition of dominance is in this particular situation. You know what I mean? Like, I do think Notre Dame is going to be in the mix for a national title. You know what I mean? Like, they're going to be in the top 10. They're going to be making the playoff, every 3 out of 4 years. You know what I mean? And so if that is what a decade of dominance is, then yeah, I think as long as there's no head coaching change, I think that's accurate. So I'll say I'm in on it, but I need some clarification on dominance. Like, they're not going to win the next 8 national titles. You know what I mean? Like, that's foolish. But they're going to be in the mix.
We in, we out. Winning a national champion or winning a national title turns Freeman into a household name if he isn't already, and becomes the new Nick Saban and is able to land and keep 5-star talent just based on the trust in his name. So I'm out on. I get what this question is asking.
Right.
I'm out to the degree that it's taking it, but I agree to a level because I do think Marcus Freeman will become more of a household name. Mm-hmm. And I do think that he's had a great amount of success recruiting with not a lot of success. And I think this success is only going to propel him more to get, more of those maybe 4 or 5-star big time recruits. But he's got a long ways to go before he's mentioned with Nick Saban.
Being a household name is one thing, and I think he's on the way to that if he's not already. To be perfectly honest with you, look, there's 2 head coaches still playing, and he's one of them, and he's very popular. Very popular. So, household name, check. It's going to be a slow roll to the Nick Saban comparisons. If he wins a national title, awesome. That's one. Nick Saban has a heck of a lot more than that. So, you're going to have to circle back to me in about 5 years before we have that conversation. You know what I mean? 5-star talent is all well and good, and they might be able to get some more high-level guys, but it's going to be it's not going to be overnight. How about that? It's not going to be overnight. So that's where I'll leave that one. God Country Notre Dame barbecue.
We in, we out. I'm hearing a lot about how Notre Dame has never seen anyone like Jeremiah Smith. I feel like most of those people are forgetting the fact that we faced Ohio State in the last 2 years, and Marvin Harrison Jr. was on the team. So with that being said, Jeremiah Smith as a freshman is more of a matchup concern for Notre Dame than Marvin Harrison Jr. was as a junior. We in or we out? I really like this question, to be honest with you. Jeremiah Smith, if you look at the numbers, very comparable to what Marvin Harrison Jr. did in his last season, around 1,400 yards, I think around 14 to 15 receiving touchdowns. But you have to look at, this is now game what for Jeremiah Smith? Game at least, this is game 16 for Jeremiah Smith. So he's got an excess of games comparatively. Listen, I think Marvin Harrison Jr. is great. I think Jeremiah Smith is great. I think they're very comparable. But I'm going to trust Marvin Harrison Jr. on a big stage as an upperclassman than I am Jeremiah Smith as a true freshman. So I personally believe that Marvin Harrison Jr. is more of a, matchup kind of nightmare to a degree, but they had Benjamin Morrison in that scenario, and they don't have Benjamin Morrison for this game. So I think that's where kind of the buffer is Leonard Moore and Christian Gray going to be enough in Benjamin Morrison's absence? Because this is the game you're going to feel missing Benjamin Morrison the most, because he's the guy who had the large responsibility of locking up Marvin Harrison Jr. So I think it's a really kind of a wash considering, how young Smith is and Notre Dame not having Benjamin Morrison.
Yeah, this one is tough. I don't know. I think Notre Dame has the ability and the talent to lock up anybody. You're not going to lock them down on every single play. Like Jeremiah Smith's going to get yards. And if he doesn't, they've got two other guys that are really, really good, right? It's not just Jeremiah Smith. It's also the sum of the parts, right? And the parts are really, really good. And so it's going to be a lot of fun to watch, to be perfectly honest with you. It's going to be a chess match between Kelly and Golden and what that looks like. I have faith that they're going to slow down the wide receivers. But I just find it very hard to believe they're going to be able to shut them down. It's not going to be obviously a Penn State situation where the wide receivers get 0 catches for 0 yards. But you've got to put a cap on them too, right? So what does that look like? Is that something that Notre Dame is going to do? It's going to be hard. It's going to be really hard. Do they have the ability to do it? Yes. Will they do it? We'll have to wait and see. So I guess I'm going to say I'm in on the fact that Notre Dame can absolutely compete because everybody always forgets that Notre Dame just locked down Marvin Harrison Jr. Now, I would feel a lot better if Benjamin Morrison was also playing because he's the one that primarily locked down Marvin Harrison Jr., right? So, this is going to be a huge matchup. That's the end of the story, right? It's going to be a huge matchup because a lot of times it's going to be a true freshman on a true freshman, a true freshman on freshman crime is what's going to happen. And, a lot of this game is going to be decided about who wins that matchup more often than not, right? So do you believe in Leonard Moore? Do you believe in Leonard Moore more, or do you believe in Jeremiah Smith more? They're both, again, we're going to get into this in rapid fire, but they're both very, very talented freshmen. So, I gotta scroll. There we go. There it is. Elmer Layden.
Win, we out. After Notre Dame wins by 10 or more Monday night, Herb Street will run the narrative. Ohio State did not play well and still try to make the case that they are the best team playing in the toughest conference while Notre Dame holds up the trophy. I'll be out because I don't think they win by 10. And I think at that point, Herb Street would just kind of have to eat it and finally give his congratulatory remarks.
Yeah, look, Herb Street went to Ohio State, but if you go to Ohio, there's a lot of Ohio State people that don't like Herb Street because they think that he purposely says bad things about them all the time. You know what I mean? So if Notre Dame wins, he's going to give Notre Dame their flowers. There's going to be plenty of people out there that will say that Ohio State didn't play well if Notre Dame wins this game in any way, shape, or form, whether it's by 10 or less. I'm out on this because I'm not predicting that Notre Dame's going to win by 10. But I think Kirk Herbstreit, he says a lot of dumb crap sometimes, but at the end of the day, he's not going to bash Notre Dame as they win the national championship. Like, that's just not going to happen. That is like purposely saying bad. You know what I mean? Like, he's not
going out of your way.
Right. He's not that dumb. So Elmer Layden with another one.
Win, we out. Benjamin Morrison returns and no one in the secondary transfers.
Well, first of all, I don't think anybody in the secondary transfers at this point. Obviously Mickey is transferring. Morrison, it's interesting. Now, Notre Dame kids don't have to declare until the 24th of January, so they still have some time before they have to declare for the draft.
Declare.
The rest of college football has declared for the draft. and Benjamin Morrison's name is not on the list. So, you can clickbait that all you want right there. But again, Notre Dame players and Ohio State players don't have to until the 24th. The rest of college football had to declare by today, and his name is not on that list. So I thought that was interesting. But if I was a betting man, I would say that we've seen Benjamin Morrison play his final Notre Dame football game.
I would say so as well. I mean, the guy is getting a first-round grade.
Yeah.
I've seen, around pick 20. I've seen top 15. I feel like it's hard as a young man when your career aspiration is to play in the NFL and you're getting a first-round grade.
Right.
So,
Right. Yep.
we in, we out. The NCAA will finally start putting regulations on the transfer portal and NIL in a few years when it looks as if Notre Dame is the only university thriving in the current climate. I think naturally there's going to be, regulations on the transfer portal and NIL because right now it's just the Wild West, and the NCAA kind of said, you know what, screw it, we're done with this. We'll let you run with it and make your own mess for a couple of years, and then, maybe we'll step in. So I don't think there's correlation between Notre Dame and what they're doing. But I do think at some point there's going to be more, regulations on the transfer portal and NIL.
Yeah, I mean, that's just common sense at this point because right now it's the Wild West, obviously. And what will happen is Notre Dame will adapt and, they'll be fine. I'm not worried about Notre Dame getting left behind in the NIL era at this point.
When we out, Love finds the end zone on the ground. In.
I'm in. It was a fluke that he didn't score 2 games ago to break his streak of scoring touchdowns. He will absolutely score in this game.
I think that's when his knee was at his worst. If we
that's
wanted
fair.
to,
yeah, that's fair. I'm definitely in on this one.
I love that question, Leon Fart.
He just wanted to say Leon Fart. All right, from Joe Allen 72.
Hey, I know this guy. We in, we out. Most Michigan fans will root for Notre Dame because of their hate of Ohio State, but Indy fans would root for Ohio State if they were playing Michigan. I'm in on this. I have a good friend who is a Michigan fan, and he is in fact rooting for Notre Dame. I know this for 100% certainty. And Notre Dame fans would root for Ohio State if they were playing Michigan.
Yep. I'm super in on this one.
I think I'd have to be in, but it's so hard because of Vince, you're lucky you don't live and work with Ohio State
so
people
lucky.
every day.
I'm so happy about that, by the way.
And so it makes it this a lot harder than what it should be. But I have a lot of resentment for Michigan. So I would have to be in on that as well.
Yeah, my hatred for Michigan is deeper and much more muddied than my dislike of Ohio State. Right. So I would absolutely root for any team that plays against Michigan. So just as Rich Eisen is rooting for Notre Dame because, Notre Dame is playing Ohio State. It's the same for me. I would root against Michigan no matter who they're playing. So that's an easy one for me.
Win or we out. Win or lose, Ryan Day will have some sort of tantrum post game. I'm in on that. He'll have, if they win, it's, they always doubted us. It's Ohio against the world.
He'll come at Lou Holtz again because, he said something and, he'll come at whoever he needs to come at because that's what he does. And I'm so in on this. It's not even funny. I would even bet that Ohio State fans would be in on this. We got a couple in the chat. So if you agree with me, Ohio State fans, that Ryan Day will have some sort of a tantrum post game, just, going off on a tangent, let me know. But I'm super in on that. I think Kevin is an Ohio State fan, and I want to see what he thinks because I know Day is not the most popular guy on the planet in Ohio right now, but I'm super in on this. All right, here we go. Hesburgh Mafia.
We in, we out. Notre Dame will lose over 2.5 assistant coaches this season.
Ooh, I'm out. There are a lot of people going to come for him. But Notre Dame assistants are getting paid pretty well right now. So I'm going to be optimistic, and I'm going to say I'm out.
If you had to pick one that you were the least optimistic about, who would it be?
Well, I mean, you're hearing all the nonsense about Al Golden going to Cincinnati, which I guess is a possibility. Dylan McCullough is always the one that worries me the most.
And I think that's who would worry me the most.
And then Mike Mickens getting a DC job someplace also worries me a little bit. But those are the three. I just don't see all three of those guys going. You know what I mean?
So yeah, I'm going to manifest this, and I don't even want to like speak it into an existence. So I have to be out.
Beautiful.
Our 5-star wide receiver Cam Williams will be starting next year.
Out. I'm out. He's buried in the depth chart right now for a reason that I don't know, but he's been on the scout team all year. That's a lot of bodies to climb, and they brought in 2 transfer wide receivers as well. He might get into the rotation, but I don't think he's going to be starting.
Yeah, I have to be out as well. I mean, like you said, he's buried, and we know that if you have talent, no matter what age you are, Notre Dame's going to find a way. I mean, Jordan Faison got on the field as a true freshman, right? Like, we've seen Aeneas Williams get on, and granted that injuries helped that, but
sure,
he still got out there. So starting, no, but I like what you said. He'll be in the rotation.
Well, I mean, look, you got Micah Gilbert, who's really, really good, who hasn't seen the field at all this year either, and he's above Cam on the depth chart, right? So I mean, there's just, like I said, there's a lot of bodies to pass. Not look, when the light comes on for him, he's got a ton of talent, so it's possible. But I just think that's a big leap from now until spring / fall.
We in, we out. If Notre Dame wins the championship, we'll see at least one of the core IB staff cry tears of joy on the post-game live stream.
We got to go through the list here because you got the post-game show. You're going to have Brian. You're going to have Sean. You're going to have Trevor. I'm going to stop in at some point. So there's the 4 people that will probably be on there. So which one of those 4 could possibly bring tears of joy?
Trevor.
Maybe. I don't know. I'm going to say I'm out.
I'll be out. I think there's going to be a lot of yelling and screaming, but not crying.
That's accurate. I think the most emotional person is Brian, but I don't know that he's emotional in a crying way. But I could be wrong. I mean, but he's the most invested emotionally,
right,
as well. So, yeah, if anybody's going to do it, it'll be him. And I don't mean that in a negative way, in any way, shape, or form, because we're all going to be emotional if Notre Dame wins this game. And I'm really excited about that possibility. So we'll see how it goes. All right, from KJ Fergie.
KJ Fergie. We in, we out. Jadarian Price will be Notre Dame's leading rusher on Monday and have a 40+ yard TD run. Out.
If that happens, Notre Dame wins, period.
Yeah. 100%. If they get that production from him.
Yeah. If Notre Dame wins, or if he gets that, Notre Dame wins, but I'm still out on that as well.
Notre Dame will pull out, Notre Dame will pull ahead by 1 to 3 points with 2 minutes or less remaining in the game, then seal the win with a sack by KVA or Josh Burnham.
Oh, man. I mean, that would be great if that went all played out like that, but that's very specific. So I'm out on the very specific prediction there. But that would be
Notre
Dame
will overtake the lead late in the game at some point, and I do think that their defense is going to have to make a stand for them to win the game.
Yeah. And that's fair. That's fair, but that's just so specific. That's so specific. All right.
We in, we out. I am already having a heart attack over this game. Brother, I've been having a heart attack ever since they beat Indiana.
Yeah, that's fair. In the moment, my heart will be racing in a manner in which will not be healthy for me. So, but I'm out on that for now. I'm very calm now because I'm just trying to focus on literally anything else. And so I'm out.
I'm letting
on that.
Work distract me.
Yes,
I'm not
all
counting
of the
days.
above.
I was like, oh, today's Thursday. That's great.
Right. All of the above on that one. So, it went small. Let's see here. What? About there from we can't see who it's from Andrew N44.
We in, we out. The distribution of fans at the game will be close to 50-50 plus or minus 5% either direction. I think that's an in, and I'd lean more towards the Notre Dame side because I think they are a bit more of a national brand.
I hope so. Notre Dame has been the less populated fan base, I think, at every bowl game except IU, obviously. But at the 2 away bowl games, there's been the least amount of Irish fans. But this one, I think there was a lot of people that were kind of waiting to come to this one. Ticket prices are high though, Jess. Like, I don't know. I hope so. I really do hope so in this regard. I really do.
When are we out? After seeing the Jeremiah Love touchdown against Penn State, he will be at least 90% healthy on Monday and have 75 plus total yards and 1+ score. I don't think he's going to be 90%. I'm out on that. I think he will have a touchdown. I'm in on that. And I do think he will be right around 70 total yards.
Okay. So you're in and out on that one.
Yep.
Yeah, I don't know that he's going to be 90%. I think he's just out there just being a warrior. I just, he's not going to be denied to play in the national championship game. But I hope he doesn't have to have surgery after the season. But if he does, so be it. I could care less if he participates in spring practice. That means absolutely nothing to me. And so I will be optimistic on Jeremiah Love with the score. I'm in on that. 75 plus. I don't know if he's going to get that. So I will be out on that as well. So, all right, this is a lot of tab jumping. All right, here we go.
When we out,
Vince
has not, and will not ever teach English grammar and syntax.
Wow, that's messed up.
You got the grammar police on you.
Well, I don't even know what I said. I see that. Here's the problem. I don't even know what I said wrong. So sure. But fun fact, 1 year I had to teach English, high school English. And I think those kids are better off for it. I'm just going to throw it out there.
Was that in Adams?
It was. Yeah. I taught juniors, I think. It's a long time ago.
That was after I was gone, right? Or before?
What year did you graduate?
14.
Oh, that was before. That was before you or during you, but I think
it was before.
It was before. That was like
I would remember seeing your goofy.
I was on a cart, baby. I was pushing the cart through the hallways, running kids over, going from classroom to classroom. So yeah, that was very early on in my
your best
teaching
friend
career.
Frank Amato.
Yeah, buddy. You know it. You know it.
We out at some point in the second half. Mr. Dinglock will call the double pass play. Riley Leonard, backward pass to the great one who has run in motion to the right side field or boundary where a screen is set. It's an RPO, but the great one, career QBR 179.9, will pass to either Aeneas Williams or Mitchell Evans for a touchdown.
This was posted as a mailbag question yesterday, but Vince answered with an opinion on Mr. Buckner and a fake kick. Apparently, I sidestepped the question, but this is way too specific. Look, I think Denbrock might pull some stuff out of his bag of tricks. It's the last game of the season, all of that.
I think a better way to put this is, will we see some sort of trick play that involves a wide receiver throwing a pass?
Yeah, there's going to be something. I don't know what it is, but I do think there's going to be something in this game. So on that, I will be in. On this specific scenario, I am going to be out.
Yeah, I'm out on this scenario, but I do believe that some sort of trick play is up Dinglock's sleeve.
Oh, man, this is interesting. Go ahead with this one.
We out.
Green Machine.
If Notre Dame wins the national championship, Vince will do an Irish jig on Irish Sport Report next week.
I believe he's referring to this show. And if Notre Dame wins the national championship, I'll do that. That's fine. I have no problem doing the Irish jig. That's kind of a fun dance to do.
We out. Second half of Penn State game is the best half of play calling for Denbrock this year. I mean, it has to be. He dug him out of a hole.
Yeah.
Obviously, the offense wasn't working at half. He made the adjustments. So, I'm in.
I'm in too. I just think from where they were in the first half to where they went to in the second half and the clear and obvious adjustments that were made in the run game, it's absolutely the best. And it was such a how do I want to say it? It was such a breath of fresh air to see those adjustments. So I'm super in on this one.
We out. It'll take a whole game of this kind of play calling for Notre Dame to beat Ohio State.
Yeah. I mean, look, players are going to have to play their best. Coordinators are going to have to coordinate their best. Head coach is going to have his best game. And the same goes for Ohio State. Everybody's going to have to be their best to win. It's a national championship, unless one of the teams makes a bunch of mistakes, then you don't have to be your best. You know what I mean? But if both teams bring their A game, you're going to have to be your best. So, yeah, I'll be in on that for sure.
I'll be in on this because I think that Notre Dame can't afford to have a half like they did against Penn State and fall into that kind of hole.
That's fair.
Uh-oh, he's back.
He's back. Salty's back.
We in, we out. Referring to a discussion in today's IB Big Show, Ohio State's defense is violent and its offense is fast. I agree. We aren't a bar-fighting team on offense in an Aussie accent.
Good luck.
Oh, I can't do that. We trying to knock you out. Our defense brought steel-toed boots and a knife.
Wow. Look, I don't really understand what I'm supposed to answer here, to be perfectly honest with you. But look, Notre Dame has proven that they're a tough team, right? Ohio State has proven that they're a tough team. It's going to be a slugfest. End of discussion. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, on both sides of the ball, they're fast and violent. And Notre Dame on both sides of the ball, they're fast and violent. So, yes, I guess. I'm not sure, to be honest. What do you think?
Yeah, I agree with this. I don't know. Their offense is fast. I don't think their defense is super violent or as violent as Penn State, to be honest with you. And I do believe the defense is going to have to try to knock them out and bring their steel-toed boots. So
yeah, okay.
I'll be in on that.
There we go. Irish for Life 99.
We in, we out. Jagasaw will be left tackle and right guard will be Spindler. We kind of did this at the beginning.
We did. I'm in. I think that's, to me, of the guys that are available, this is your best offensive line. And I just hope Spindler can make it through in the entire game and be effective, both. But yeah, this is what I would do. So I'm in on it.
I'm in as well.
Oh, Sean Stiers is putting one in. Hello.
Whoa.
Okay.
We in, we out. This was like right before 6 minutes before tip off.
What? Is he supposed to be doing like a pregame show or what? Okay. All right.
Man, we in, we out. Notre Dame football and women's basketball win national championships this season. I'm in. I've said it since the beginning of the show on Tuesday. Vince, you missed it. I was on a monologue for about 10 minutes, I think.
Good for you.
Do you remember when Oklahoma beat Florida State in the national championship in, I think it was 2000 or 2003? If not, that's fine. Florida State had Chris Winkie at quarterback. He won the Heisman. And the whole time, the whole week, everyone was asking good old Bob Stoops, how are they going to deal with this Florida State offense? What are they going to have to do? You know what he said? We have athletes too. That's exactly what Notre Dame is. They have athletes too. They're fast. They're physical. They're smart. They're intelligent. They're going to win this thing. And if the women can stay healthy, I think they're the best three-headed guard combination in the country. They've, beefed up their post. Leah too is playing terrific for them as kind of the power forward, a stretch. So I'm in. This is the best year for both of these to happen.
Look, if I was going to be out on this, it would have been obviously earlier in the season, and it would have been because of Notre Dame football. Because I'm very confident in Notre Dame women's basketball. And so, look, Notre Dame football said, hey, Vince, we're in the national championship game now. So at this point, they got a 50-50 shot of winning the title. So I'm in, man. I'm like, let's go. Let's light up the number one sign at the top of Grace Hall and just keep it lit all year through March. Like, I'm good. Like, that would be. Can you imagine? Like, how cool would that be? Like,
it'd be freaking.
We're road tripping to the Final Four. We're road tripping to the national championship for football. Like, what a great 2025. So yeah, I'm in. And Joe doesn't want us to forget about lacrosse. Oops, there it is. Lacrosse. Because they are the reigning national champs as well. So and don't forget about fencing. They're really good too. I think they are the reigning champs as well. But yes, women's basketball, I'm in. This is a straight shot at me, I think.
Oh, 100%. I'll let you read this one.
Yeah,
Well, I'll read it because you're going
Go
to
ahead.
answer it. We in, we out on a Guns N' Roses marathon on the drive to Atlanta.
That's why God made headphones, Jesse. So the way I always operate, the driver has control of the radio, but
That's not how Sean Stiers operates.
It's not? Is
I'll
that
be
because he doesn't
driving-
usually drive?
No, I don't know if it's because I'm his son,
Oh.
but he's the guy who's tinkering with the air and the radio. And it's like, listen, buddy, you're not driving here. You want to start messing with how hot and cold it is and what music you want to play, then you drive the whole time.
Oh.
But
does he not like driving?
he likes driving.
Okay,
I
good.
just don't think he likes driving for like 8 hours straight.
Well, that's fair. I would not ask him to do that, but I hate driving. So this is going to be, we're going to have some stories, I think, after this 20-hour in the car situation over like a 48-hour period. So it's going to be interesting. I'll just say that. It's going to be very, very interesting. He can play whatever he wants as long as he's driving. That's the way I see it. So I'll be in on it. You play your Guns N' Roses. And look, Guns N' Roses is not a bad band. I will say that. I just couldn't sit here and come up with all of their stuff. You know what I mean? So there you go. Hit it.
We in, we out. Jesse is going to share at least one funny story about Sean since he is not on the show.
Well,
I'll
we
give
kind
you
of just
one.
did, but go ahead.
I'll give you one. This goes back to, so for the people in the chat who don't know, my dad was my high school baseball coach for my junior and senior season, head baseball coach. And as you know, as that goes, there's ups and downs of every father and son, high school varsity baseball relationship. And I just remember one day being at practice, and I'm having a great batting practice, just, tanking everything, hitting a couple out, getting a couple off the wall. And he comes up to me and he goes, "You're just dipping your back shoulder and trying to hit a home run." I said, "No, I'm not. I'm just swinging, dude. What are you talking about?" So he gets this tee out and he puts a basketball on the tee and he tells our assistant coach to keep throwing batting practice. And his whole thought process is, well, if I'm dipping, I'm going to hit the tee or the ball, right? And not the baseball that's coming in during live batting practice. Well, he gets this tee set up. First thing that happens, I get my next pitch, smoke it over the center field fence. And I just looked at him and said, "I'm not dipping anymore, buddy, aren't I?" And he didn't say anything the rest of the practice. And I love that story.
That's pretty good. That's pretty good. I was trying to look for the picture while you were talking of him with his head shaved after you guys beat Mishawaka, but I can't find it that quick. So we'll just let that one lie. Next question, sir.
We in, we out. Vince is excited about this year's team since the 1988 National Championship.
Well, I don't remember the 1988 National Championship, so I guess I'm more excited about this year's team than I was then. 7-year-old Vince didn't really know what was going on at Notre Dame, unfortunately. Because my dad was not a big sports guy, so I had to find sports on my own. You know what I mean? And so I didn't find really Notre Dame football until like the 93 season. That's really when I first remember Notre Dame football. So there you go.
We in, we out. Vince's kids all sit down to watch all of his YouTube shows because their dad is famous.
They watch snippets and really to make fun of me is what they do. So it's not all glitz and glamour in the D'Addario household. They enjoy making fun. So that's where that at. And that is where we are going to finish We In, We Out, Jesse. So well done, sir.
I think we crushed that.
I think we did too. A lot of good stuff from the people. This show doesn't happen without the people. So I appreciate everybody, giving their opinions and asking those questions and getting us an hour's worth of content. So that's fantastic. But Jesse Stiers, are you ready for rapid fire?
Pew, pew, pew. Let's do this.
Ooh, I like the pew, pew. That's good stuff. All right. Got a few here. Let's see if we can make it happen. All right. NBC Sports announced that Notre Dame's Here Come the Irish series on Peacock will be extended for an 8th episode covering the Sugar Bowl, Orange Bowl, and National Championship. It'll be released February 6th. The first 7 episodes are all out now. So, scale of 1 to 10, how excited are you?
So right now, scale of 1 to 10, I'm like a 5. I've only watched the first 2 episodes, the ones that came out at the beginning of the season. I haven't watched episodes 3 through 7 yet. But Vince, I think my excitement level goes to a 10 because when Notre Dame wins this game, I'm looking forward to going back and using this as like a documentary to relive all those excitement and all those, just the different feelings that came of them going on this run. But right now, I just don't have interest in watching because I'm just so locked in on finishing the season. But when the season finishes, and like I said, when they win, I think it'll be pretty awesome to go back and kind of relive those emotions, a month, 2 months from now, whenever it might be.
I've watched the first 6. I didn't realize the 7th episode was out yet. I need like some sort of like a reminder, like I don't know, like when another episode comes out, because I'm not exactly a frequent Peacock watcher. So I had no idea that the 7th episode came out. So that's on my to-do list for this evening as I'm cutting up all the podcasts from today. I will be watching episode number 7. I think that they have done an excellent job, with this whole series, with this whole documentary and everything. I wish there were more episodes, and I wish they were during the season. Totally get why they're not, but I wish it was a weekly thing. I think that would have been really cool. More of a chance that I would have made it on the show, which would have been really cool. Just kidding. I'm just joking. No, I think they've actually done a really good job. Here's a funny little anecdote about the show, though, Jesse. So anytime they use audio from somebody in the media or, have them on there or whatever, they got to get a release. They got to ask permission, that kind of a thing. I have been contacted by Notre Dame 5 or 6 different times. Hey,
so you're waiting for your plug.
So they're like, hey, here's a clip we want to use of you on the show. We just need you to sign the release. I listened to it. Every single time it's been somebody else from Irish Breakdown. It's never been me. Ever. I'm like, dang, I must not say anything all that good.
Wait, so they use Irish Breakdown clips in the Peacock show?
Yeah. Yep.
I didn't know that.
Yep. Yeah, they've used Trevor, they've used me, they've used Ryan, or they have not used me. Trevor, Ryan, Brian, and I think they've repeated a couple of times. It's never been me. They're like, I think I got this one right this time. I think it's you. Nope, it's not. So I thought
I didn't know that.
Yeah. So Trevor was in the
made it, unfortunately.
Yeah, I don't think he has. So yeah, me and your dad and you, we're just on the outside looking in apparently. Because I think they listened to
got in, and he's like the most recent hire of the bunch.
I know. I think whoever it is, I think they listen to the afternoon show. I don't think that they're listening to ours. I think that's really what it comes down to. But that's okay. Irish Gordian Knott says he thinks I was on episode 3.
Well, hopefully they pull a clip of me going absolutely nuts on Tuesday, just like hyping up everyone about them winning this game. That would be pretty.
I know,
sweet.
Right? Oh, but no, I mean, it's just, I think they're doing a fantastic job with that whole series. And I anticipate when each one comes out. So I'm really looking forward to watching the 7th episode. And then hopefully, like if Notre Dame loses, I don't know, like it's going to take me a while to sit down and watch the last
I don't think I'll watch it.
You know what I mean? Like, yeah, that's going to be a tough pill to swallow, frankly. So I don't know that I'll actually be watching it, but they're, like I said, they're doing a fantastic job with it.
That's sweet, though. I had no clue.
Yeah.
Shows you when I told you I haven't watched the episodes. I'm not lying.
Yeah. No, hey, you know what? It's all good. It's all good. All right. Let's see here. Back to the rapid fire questions. All right. Oh, by the way, I am a tentative 8 on how excited I am, by the way. A tentative 8. Notre Dame loses on Monday, it drops down to like a 2. But like I'm excited to watch the 7th episode because I know Notre Dame has won, so I'm excited to look back on it, right? So yeah, I'm a tentative 8 on this one. All right, let's see here. Jeremiah Smith. We told you we were going to talk about Jeremiah Smith and Leonard Moore. So Jeremiah Smith and Leonard Moore are the 1-2, like the 2 highest graded true freshmen this season according to Pro Football Focus. Obviously, they're going to be matching up on Monday night at least once or twice, or, depending on where everybody lines up and all of those things. So how do you see this matchup playing out? So Smith, Moore, how do you see this thing playing out? Freshman on freshman.
Yeah, I think this matchup is going to be great, and I think you're going to use Leonard Moore more so. I like Leonard Moore as a guy who's got the frame and the length to necessarily go up with Jeremiah Smith. But when we're talking about go routes and stuff like that, I like Christian Gray's speed and stuff to kind of keep up with him. But I mean, we've seen that Christian Gray kind of struggles with some of those bigger body wide receivers, and I know the sample size is small, and I know USC's game plan was quite literally to abuse him, but I think situationally it makes more sense to use Leonard Moore. And so I'm curious to see how Notre Dame uses him situationally, because I think he's going to have a huge impact on limiting what Jeremiah Smith can do.
Yeah, I'm curious to see how Ohio State, game plans against Notre Dame. Like, look, everybody's talking about, what's Notre Dame going to do against these receivers and blah, 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 blah.
What are these wide receivers going to do against the secondary?
Exactly. How's Chip Kelly going to scheme up to get the matchups that he wants, right? What matchups does he want? It doesn't
matter if they're getting pressure straight down the throat on Howard.
Right.
Right. Quarterback can't throw the ball to the wide receiver when he's got a defensive lineman in his face or a linebacker in his face. So, that's part of it too. Notre Dame's recipe on defense is they bring pressure to help their DBs who are playing man on the backside, right? So, even if they're not playing perfect coverage, that pressure is a huge factor at the end of the day.
Yep, no doubt about it. And look, there's going to be a lot of factors that go in to whether or not Notre Dame is effective defensively in this game. One of it is going to be to put pressure on Will Howard. I mean, that goes without saying, right? The other thing is if you let's say they take away to a great extent Jeremiah Smith, what does Mbuka do? Right? What does Tate do? What does the tight end do? What are the running backs going to do? There's so many weapons for Ohio State. Can you take them all away? No. Can you limit their production? We'll see. You know what I mean? So what matchups? Like, as Chip Kelly has been watching Notre Dame's defense, he's probably watched every game that Notre Dame has played. What matchups does he like? You know what I mean? I would be fascinated to sit down with him pregame to talk about that. Like, what matchups are you trying to get your guys into, whether by motion, whether by formation, whatever? What are you looking to get out of this whole thing? I would be fascinated to see where he thinks he has the advantage, because I think it's pretty even across the board. So in that regard, it's 50-50, as to how this thing is going to go. But I'm really looking forward to it for sure. All right, Notre Dame Athletics posted a, quote, paint Atlanta green, unquote, graphic today. It was a couple of hours before the show. And it's not like some random site. It was Notre Dame Athletics. They're the ones that put this out there. Just to stir the pot, Jesse, there's no chance the Irish wear green on Monday night, is there?
I have to disagree on that one. They are the higher seed and are considered the home game in this situation. Yeah. So I do think they have a bit more liberty on the offensive, on the uniform selection. I don't see them going all green, but I wouldn't be surprised if there's a hint of green in there. Maybe a shamrock patch on the jersey somewhere, or that's more so where I'm leaning. Maybe some some touch-ups with some green or something like that. But I mean, if they go blue, they go blue. But I just don't. I don't know. I don't know why you tell everyone to wear green if you don't incorporate green to some degree. Because I mean, blue.
Well, that's the only color that Notre Dame fans can agree on.
That's true.
I think
and
that's
a lot of
why.
people love to wear the green.
And Ohio State, they're all going to wear red. They're not going to come in gray or white.
So are they doing it to try to get as much contrast as possible so Notre Dame can see who their fans are?
I do think that.
I don't know.
Yeah.
But I think they'll have some sort of accent of green in there somewhere.
I would love that if that was the case. I don't know. It's the playoffs. I want the blue, to be honest with you. But I do like what they do with green, and they've done a very good job. Like the playoff uniforms that Notre Dame has had
I
with
love
just the
them.
gold accents and things like that. Like, I mean, chef's kiss. They're freaking beautiful.
Yeah, I think the green has to do more so with visibility.
Yeah, right. I think the crowd is going to be green. They want the crowd to be green. I'm cool with the crowd being green because that's a very sharp contrast to red. And so that's kind of what you want. You know what I mean? And that's been we've talked about this before. Notre Dame just doesn't have an identity color-wise for fans. You know what I mean? And like, Ohio State red, I use red, Penn State white. All the fans can agree on it. So it's like Notre Dame has to tell fans, okay, we're going to wear green down in Atlanta. So we want you all to look the same. But I think a little green accent somewhere on the uniforms would be a nice touch. I do think that, but I think overall blue. I want blue. And if they mess with the helmets, I would
There's
be
no way they'll mess with the helmets.
That I would have a sternly worded email to Notre Dame.
Packing it up and driving back if they don't wear the
right. Oh, that would be terrible. But yeah, I think overall it's going to be the Blues. All right. ESPN's Heather Dinich reported today that the college football playoff will likely not make any changes to the format for the 25 season. Changes likely coming for 26, though. The reason being is they would need unanimous approval from all conference commissioners and Notre Dame, and that's probably not going to happen. So, Jesse, if you are a conference commissioner, what would your vote be?
If I'm the Big Ten and the SEC, I'm repealing it all. I'm voting to change it all. If I'm the Group of Five, the Big 12, the ACC, I'm not even. You know what? Sign me up. Let's just do this again, right? Because those are the three conferences that benefited the most, and the SEC and the Big Ten think that they got cheated at the end of the day, right? So I think there's going to be a divide at the end of the day because I think the Big Ten and the SEC kind of want to do their own thing at this point because they think they're the best at football every year, and I think that's why Notre Dame winning this national championship would be great for the sport because it would get the SEC and the Big Ten off of their high horse because what did Notre Dame do? They beat a Big Ten school, an SEC school, a Big Ten school, and another Big Ten school to win the national championship. So I think there's a lot riding on this national championship in terms of the future of the college football format if Notre Dame can win this game. Because I think a strong rebuttal is, well, look at Notre Dame. They're not in a conference and they just wiped out the top, 3 or 4 teams in the Big Ten, the SEC champ. So are you guys really that good that you need to go off and do your own thing? So I think that's kind of how the conversation will go.
Yeah, I mean, if you're a small conference, there's no chance that you're voting to change anything in 25 because you're going to get outvoted for 26 and beyond. And, the way it shook out this time around benefited not the Pac-12, obviously, the Big 12 and the Group of Five, Mountain West in this particular case. It benefited them, and they were able to make more money because of it. And so I don't see them wanting or being willing to change. The worst thing that could possibly happen, in my opinion, moving forward is that there's guaranteed X amount of slots for the Big Ten or the SEC, right? I mean, I'm fine with the conference champions making it in automatically. That's fine.
Not a top 4 bid.
But they should not have a top 4 like that. I think that's nonsense. And this isn't coming from a Notre Dame standpoint because if you want to say that Notre Dame can't get a top 4 because they didn't even play in a conference championship, cool. I don't care because I'll sign up for a Notre Dame home game
every year.
That was so awesome. Like I would sign up for that every single year. And so I just think that guaranteeing a conference champion a bye is a little ridiculous. So hopefully that changes. It's not going to change for 25. We're going to be looking at the exact same thing going into 25. And look, at the end of the day, the SEC and the Big Ten got to step up a little bit more and just play better. And they'll have more teams in. I mean, that's just right. I mean, that's how it goes. So, but yeah, I would vote no if I was those other conferences. But if I was Big Ten and the SEC, I'd be like, we need to change it now. But that's just not going to happen because I can't even get like all my kids to agree on anything, let alone a bunch of conference commissioners where hundreds of millions of dollars are on the line. You know what I mean? Like, it's just never going to happen.
That's a good
point. Yeah.
You can't even get your kids to what food you could provide for dinner.
Seriously.
Let alone.
I mean, you're not wrong at all. So you're not wrong. All right. Final one for tonight, Jesse. A little NFL flavor. Did you know Rams quarterback Matthew Stafford has the 4th best passer rating in NFL history in the playoffs at 103?
Did not know that, Vince.
But Matthew Stafford outdoors in the rain or snow is 1-8 over his career with a 54% completion percentage, 14 touchdowns, 11 interceptions, and a 76 rating. So this weekend at 3:00 on Sunday, there's a 50% chance of snow in Philly. So which Stafford shows up on Sunday?
I think the Matthew Stafford that shows up on Sunday is the one that grinds out a win and beats the Philadelphia Eagles on their home field. There's obviously a little hatred and bias in my answer because I hate those rat birds more than anything else. But I do think but to be completely honest with you, Jalen Hurts had that concussion. He was out for basically the last month of the season. They have a great defense that they rely on, but I just don't trust Jalen Hurts as a quarterback in general. And then you throw in, the lack of time that he's played in the last couple, in the last month or so. And we know what Matthew Stafford has done. He's won a Super Bowl. And like you said, I mean, half of those stats come with his time, with the Lions, which is a completely different story. So I just think Matt Stafford does enough to grind out a win this weekend.
You're calling for the straight up upset.
Yep.
Okay.
And I got Houston beating the Chiefs this weekend as well.
Wow. Okay. You're just looking for complete chaos in the NFL. I like that. I like that a lot because the Eagles and the Chiefs going down would be like, I mean, there's a lot of people predicting it's going to be the Eagles and Chiefs in the Super Bowl, obviously. So that would definitely mix things up a little bit. Look, I think to the question, I think Stafford will fall somewhere in between. I don't think he's going to have his worst game, but I don't think he's going to help out his 103 overall rating and 4th best passer rating ever in the playoffs. There's a reason he played in a dome, and there's a reason he played in LA. He's not a fan of the weather, and he came from Georgia. So, let's be real. He's not good in the weather, but he's also a very wily quarterback. He's a veteran. He's not going to take a lot of unnecessary risks. I don't think he's going to throw a bunch of interceptions because my guess is, without looking, that 1-8 record is like against Green Bay and Chicago, when his time with the Lions, when the Lions were god awful. So, you know what I mean? Like that's probably where that's at. So I will say it'll be someplace in between. So he's not going to have the 103, but he's also not going to have the 76.
Vince, I came with a extra credit bonus question today to wrap up this show.
Do it.
Okay. When Notre Dame wins this national championship on Monday.
When
Notre Dame wins this national championship on Monday, scale of 1 to 10, what is your confidence that Ryan Day is still Ohio State's head coach?
Oh, 10. No, he'll be the head coach. I mean, you can't fire him after going to the national championship.
Well, you got to think about it though, Vince. What is their 2 biggest goals in a season?
Beat Michigan and win a national title.
For a national title.
A Big Ten championship, like all 3 of those.
He struck out on all 3, Vince.
That's a strikeout. That's 3 strikes and you're out, right?
How many national championships? Oh. And because they're heavily favored. That's the other part of this.
They are heavily favored.
The national media is not doing this man any favors, right? And so you strike out on Michigan, Big Ten championship, and the national championship. I think if you ask Ohio State fans, they'd say he needs to go. I don't personally think Ohio State would do it.
No, I don't think. He would be on the proverbial hot seat. He would have a lot of pressure on him from the outside. I don't think he would have as much pressure on himself from the inside. And so I will say his job will be very safe at that point. So very safe.
You know what? I've been poking all the Ohio State Bears today, and I've asked every single one of them that question, and I've phrased it the exact same way. When Notre Dame wins.
Hey, I love your confidence, man. I'm not ready to be that confident just yet. At 8:00 on Monday night, that might be different. But I won't be on a live show, so it's okay. So I'm trying to temper my excitement at this point. It's still Wednesday or Thursday, or whatever day it is. We still got time. We still got days. So we'll
Can't
have
burn
to
the
wait and
juice.
see.
You got to bring the
No,
juice.
no, I'm too old for that.
Collectively.
I'm too old for that. So, all right, Jess. Hey, thanks for hanging out with me on a Thursday. Appreciate it very much. For those of you curious, Notre Dame has an 11-point lead, and Sonia Citron is at the free throw line and just made it a 12-point
Fourth quarter
lead.
just started.
So, yes, it did.
You're double
So,
duty, man. You got it.
just saying, I'm excited about this because I wanted to see Notre Dame women were a little stagnant offensively in the last game without Hidalgo on the floor. They've picked it up in this game. Westbeld and Sonia Citron have picked it up big time offensively, scoring points. So they're proving that they don't. I'm not saying they don't need Hannah, but they can be a dynamic offense without her. Right?
You know what I just realized? I haven't seen you since I saw you at the basketball game from afar.
Ooh, that's right. That's right. You sent an usher over, which was really disconcerting, by the way, because I wasn't sure who he was. And he knew my name.
In trouble, huh?
He knew my name and everything, and I was like, "Wait, what?" No, but he was super nice. It was really cool. But yeah, that's right. And I looked over. I was gonna come see you after the game, and you
we booked it because we were there with Bailey and my grandma and grandpa, and
yep.
We had to. And it was rain. I don't know if it was that day that Sunday that it was just raining, and so we were like, yeah, we need to beat everyone to the car.
Yeah, that's fair. Oh, that sucked, by the way, the rain, but we don't. That was awful. We were just soaked by the time we got back to the car. But hey, it is what it is. So, all right, let's get out of here. I think my dinner's upstairs. I'm hungry, and that's clearly the most important thing right now. So for Jesse, I'm Vince. Thanks, everybody, for hanging out with us. We will talk to you next time on IB Nation Sports Talk. Have a wonderful rest of your Thursday, everybody.
Go Irish.